placement, it is going to be, Kiwamu Endo. First up here, of course, the 2024 Japan national finalist, 2023 World Cup supporters. That was Japan's placement in the last World Cup. And Endo himself did make top 16 in Japan Nationals 2021 and also World's top 16 in 2018. Now, the team here looks relatively standard. I am a big believer in the Blood Moon Ursaluna with the Assault Vest, so really excited to see that here.
Yeah, Kiwamu actually playing a team pretty similar to something he played recently. I believe in one of the last weeks he played the same core, not sure against which team. I may have to look that up. But yeah, he's also going for a comfort pick for sure. And yeah, exactly like Yuma, we see again the Dragonite, Ursaluna, and Goldengo core alongside the Rillaboom. But instead, he opted for the Magmar and Sneasler as his last two slots. Yeah, Kiwamu definitely, super strong player. Really excited to watch this match.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm really hyped to see if this Blood Moon Ursaluna will make an appearance here, because, like I said, personally, I was like a big believer in this set for Regulation Age, and usually that is an item you would see on a Pokemon like the Rillaboom, but it does have the Meadow Blade. Also, funny to see here that it still has the standard Assault Vest moveset, because those 4 moves are just really good on Rillaboom in this current regulation. We're also used to seeing a lot of U-turn on this Pokemon, but currently the high horsepower, I think, is just, it adds so much value to just Rillaboom's moveset and helps out in certain matchups for just the whole team. So it makes sense that Kiwamu Endo would also play that Pokemon here with those 4 moves, regardless of what item it is accomplished by. But also the Dragonite. Also, I like that the Dragonite here has Tailwind, Extreme Speed, and Scale Shot. I think that's probably my favorite set. Haze is another move we see a lot of. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's the strongest set, like in raw terms, because like Haze is a pretty specific. While these moves are some like moves that come into play pretty often. So that's also my favorite set. Interestingly enough, this Dragonite with the Terra Steel over the Terra Fairy that we see a lot of times, so not going to be completely immune to opposing Dragonites' Scale Shot, but nonetheless, like still having great synergy with Dragonite's natural type of Flying and Dragon. But honestly, like teams aside, I'm pretty excited for this matchup. Like, these are 2 players that are like doing really well in the current competitive official seasons. Like Alcana or Kiwamu got like 2nd place at Japan Nationals last year and did pretty well at Worlds too. And like we were saying, Navjit got top 8 at last Worlds with a really creative team. So yeah, really excited to watch this one, regardless of the score between Japan and Canada. But yeah, talking about Navjit's team, we have a pretty interesting one, like with the Amoonguss, Gastrodon, Sneasler, Dragonite, Ninetales, and Kingambit. We see the like classic like Yawn, 2 attacks, Citrus Berry, Gastrodon set. Though Gastrodon is actually not a Pokemon we see super often in Regulation Age, so really interesting to see.
No, not a lot.
If that,
I think it can have some value on certain teams. The Yawn, I think, is against certain matchups is just a really, really nice tools against setup Pokemon that are not Goldengo, to be fair. But we do see some setup sometimes on Pokemon like Dragonite with, if you're facing against an opponent who is also playing Coaching and a Dragonite, it might give you an advantage to maybe force some switches or just, make a sleep happen with a move like Yawn. And yeah, this Dragonite here, as opposed to Endos, doesn't have Tailwind. It does have Stomping Tantrum, which I think in this team makes more sense. It is rather slow with Pokemon like Amoonguss, Gastrodon, and Kingambit. So, you do have the Ninetales and Sneasler with the, they're both just naturally fast. So, and if you just go for something like a Coaching setup on this Dragonite, and, you get your speed boost not through a Tailwind, but through the Scale Shot, I think in this case, having the Stomping Tantrum to just cover more ground, being able to hit more different kinds of Pokemon is probably more valuable here for Navjit.
Yeah, I agree with you. And actually, the Stomping Tantrum makes a lot of sense on this team in particular. I feel like this team has a lot of mons that get hit really hard by Sneasler, and not too many that do like a lot back. So having a really quick way to beat the Sneasler is something that's really good, especially paired with the Extreme Speed priority option. Uh, but yeah, like pretty original team. And do you think we will see Gastrodon in this upcoming match?
Honestly, I mean, just alone because of the fact that Endo is playing the Rillaboom, I'd say it's probably a little risky, but you do have the Terra Grass option, and who knows, maybe forcing a yawn on something like the opposing Dragonite or Ursaluna can give you an advantage, but I don't know. I feel like having just the Dragonite and Sneasler on sit, and maybe even just bringing up the Ninetales, setting up an Aurora Veil, is probably just the hyper offense mode that I would go for. Especially against Pokemon like Goldengo. I don't want to have slow Pokemon out there that don't deal a lot of damage. I want to get the Goldengo off the field before it sets up a nasty plot and then just starts going for Make It Rains and Shadow Ball. We will have to see. Game 1 is ready. I mean, also, we are going to jump right into this, and it is going to be a Sneasler King Gambit lead. So, there's some coaching setup potential here, and another Sneasler, but followed by the Ursaluna with the Assault Vest.
Yeah, personally, I was really expecting to see this King Gambit in particular here, because Kiwamu's team has 3 mons that completely don't do damage to it. But pretty unfortunately for Navjit, Kiwamu opts to lead with 2 of those that can actually do damage to King Gambit. So yeah, pretty strong leads for Kiwamu, I would say. But with the coaching and the fake outs, there's a lot that can go on here.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think Kiwamu maybe recognized that, King Gambit is a Pokemon that can't really hit that nicely, so might as well lead the Sneasler and the Ursaluna to pressure it a little bit and not let it just set up that easily. King Gambit is going to go for that Terra Ghost straight away, so is going to be immune to any fighting moves that the Sneasler might throw its way in this turn 1. That is just going to be a fake out. Kiwamu's Sneasler moving first. That could be an indication of the natures of these Pokemon. And Earth Power into the King Gambit, doing still a good amount of damage even without the Life Orb. And King Gambit does get a Swords Dance setup here. So yeah, King Gambit gonna be a lot more powerful now with its moves, but it has already taken half HP off, so it is on a bit of a timer, and of course it can only hit one opponent at a time, so there is that as well.
Yeah, I think this Terra Ghost is pretty nice for Navjit because like due to King Gambit resisting Blood Moon, like Kiwamu did not go for it. And so now, despite taking damage, King Gambit is not threatened by Vacuum Wave, and it takes like only resisted damage from Sneasler. So after this Swords Dance, it's looking pretty scary. And due to that, it goes for Protect to hopefully get double targeted by Kiwamu, while Close Combat goes into the Ursaluna. Almost KOing it.
Yeah, and it hangs on with 9 HP. That is a big survive there. But yeah, King Gambit maybe recognizing that it is a little risky to just go for an attack in this turn. Try to get some damage with that Sneasler first. And yeah, 2 attacks go into that protecting slot. Hyper Voice is not going to get the KO on the Sneasler here on Navjit's side. So it is still in a position to go for one more move before it goes down here. But I think this King Gambit probably still has to, maybe respect a double up here, depending on, which Pokemon is faster. Is the Blood Moon faster? Is the King Gambit faster? We technically don't know that yet, I believe.
I think we've seen the Blood Moon.
Oh yeah, no, we have.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, like, this is like, I mean, what does Kiwamu go for? Oh, okay, so it does go for the Vacuum Wave into the Sneasler. But that King Gambit can probably get an attack off this turn because, like, the Sneasler cannot KO it. And yeah, as we
can't
see, the
KO it,
but maybe you can sleep it. All right, no.
No, will not.
Yeah. No, this is pretty lucky for Navjit. But like, still, it was like more likely to get poison Is that Sneasler Poison Touch?
It is
Yes, it
Poison
is.
Touch, yes.
Yeah.
So no status there for the Dire Claw, something we rarely see. But yeah, King Gambit taking that Dire Claw very, very nicely. And yeah, both these Pokemon here for Kiwamu Endo in the red, but still a threat here for Navjit. The Dragonite coming in here now means that yeah, it can perhaps try to just go for an extreme speed and knock out one of these Pokemon, or maybe just go for a scale shot and then already get a speed boost going. But with scale shot, of course, there is the added risk of it missing. So yeah, Navjit just going for the extreme speed there, gonna take out this Blood Moon Ursaluna here. And if the King Gambit doesn't go for a Sucker Punch, yeah, the Sneasler is gonna get another Dire Claw off. No status once again, and Sneasler goes down to this Dire Claw.
Yeah, we were talking about how the lead was looking good for Kiwamu, but that Terra Ghost King Gambit really turning the tables. Do you think the Goldengo and the Magma are going to be enough for him to make this 3v2 comeback? I think actually they're in a pretty good spot because the Terra Ghost does actually help Goldengo. And the Magma, I believe, doesn't have the Will-O-Wisp, so Dragonite, yeah, I don't think it's over for Kiwamu.
I wouldn't say it's over. Yeah, definitely not over yet. And yeah, so the thing with King Gambit here is that, it's not carrying the Black Blast. It doesn't have Terra Dark. It's Safety Goggles and it is Terra Ghost, which is a lot less damage than, that powerful just Terra Dark Black Blast set that just takes out sometimes even Pokemon that resist the Dark moves. So, I think Magmar just being a super tanky Pokemon, and it is Terra Fairy, there is the potential here to, for Kiwamu to just go for Terra Fairy and follow me, and that will be able to resist any Dark-type moves this King Gambit, chooses to go for, and Navjit actually switches it out.
Yeah, the King Gambit goes out, and the Gastrodon actually comes in. We do see the Gastrodon, I actually think in this spot, it's really amazing because it was the Goldengo and does a lot of damage to the Magmar, but Magmar does have Taunt, I believe. So yeah, the Taunt kind of shuts down the Gastrodon, and the Dragon and the Terra Fairy also prevents the Dragonite for getting damage off onto the Magmar. So yeah, this is looking pretty strong for Kiwamu actually, but
yeah,
the Gastrodon might have something to say about this.
Yeah, and we saw Navjit go for the scale shot with the Dragonite, I believe, into that Terra Fairy Magmar. I really think that this play that Kiwamu went for was the only correct play for him in the situation. And yeah, like you said, this puts Goldengo into a great spot because, of course, you do need to respect the Dragonite stomping tantrum. So, with Magmar, you can't go for Taunt and for Follow Me, so maybe you have to think about, what is your next move here? Do you just, respect the Dragonite, or expect the Dragonite to respect the Follow Me and just not go for stomping tantrums as it just did? And Goldengo actually going for another nasty plot here. So if Gastrodon decided to go for a Yawn on this Magmar, no, it is just going to be an Earth Power.
Yeah,
okay, that
he
could
actually
shut down,
can't
any
because
Follow
of
Me.
Magmar's ability.
Oh yeah,
Magmar
right.
has
It's not
speed.
Flame Body.
That's why
it is
this
Vital
spot
Spirit.
is so good for Kiwamu, and he positioned himself so well to be in this spot. The Magmar has crazy special defense, and it's up against two Pokemon that cannot really do much to it. So this Terra Fairy in this very spot, it's clear that Kiwamu's playing for this position since the early game. I would say the problem here is the Gastrodon is so bulky, so Goldengo cannot really take it down easily, and eventually the Magmar is going to go down, and I'm not sure if the Goldengo is going to be able to do enough.
I mean, it is at +4 at this point. It has gone for 2 nasty plots, so I would be surprised if a Shadow Ball doesn't take out the Gastrodon. And I really like that double protect here from Kiwamu, just predicting the protect on the Gastrodon. And now it's not able to go for a second protect without the added risk of it failing. And usually it would in that situation. So yeah, Dragonite is just going to keep going for extreme speed, slowly withering down this Magmar here. And yeah, Goldengo is going to have an opportunity to go for an attack here before this Gastrodon is going to be the Shadow Ball. I'm going to say that should easily take it out. Yeah, +4
Gastrodon
Shadow Ball takes out this
bulky.
Gastrodon. It's bulky, but not that bulky.
Yeah, but it's pretty bulky. Yeah, and I think in this situation it like did slow down Kiwamo a little bit, but I think it comes down to whether the Magmar can survive another extreme speed. I didn't see the exact damage it did the first time around. I mean, the first few times around actually. But yeah, 41
Could be a
seems
roll.
pretty close. Yeah, it could be a roll. I feel like it's gonna leave it though, and if it does, um,
Oh, 5
it leaves with 5 HP, and the King Gambit also importantly doesn't protect, so the Goldengo just goes for Make It Rain here, I feel.
Yeah, probably. And as you mentioned, I feel like a protect on the King Gambit here would have been more than fair. But yeah, Mega Drain just takes out this Dragon Knight and the King Gambit, and Kiwamu really turning tables here with just 2 Pokemon left. You know, Navjit did have all 4 of his still ready, but yeah, really just forcing that King Gambit into a position where it had to switch out because it wasn't going to do much against this Magmar here, and just bringing... oh yeah, wait, that was already the last Pokemon as well. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm missing
For some reason, I also felt like
right
there might
now.
have been something in the back here. But, yeah, no. The game plan from Kiwamu was really amazing, in my opinion. He just played so that he would end up in that position with the Ursaluna and the Sneasler just there to like do some cheap damage. Like even the turn 1 that looked so strong for Navjit ended up like playing, I mean, not being a major issue for Kiwamu. And yeah, but it was pretty close actually, with the Magmar living on only 5 HP. If it actually lived that, then the Goldengo would have gone down to Sucker Punch. So it was a pretty close game, and we did see the Gasser.
That's true. So that could have been a roll that decided that ending game there for sure. And I mean, I suppose if the Magmar is like faster than the King Gambit, I guess we could have had like some Sucker Punch mind games in the end then, or no, if it doesn't, then never mind. But yeah, I really like the lead there that Kiwamu Endo had. You know, force that King Gambit to either go for a Terra or maybe even switch out. You know, don't just give it that easy Swords Dance setup. And once the King Gambit goes for the Terra, you can hit it easily with Goldengo. And if it just decides to switch out without the Terra, there's not a lot of things in the back for Navjit that really take a close combat plus Hyper Voice really that well. Maybe the Amoonguss at most, but yeah, it's not a Citrus Berry Amoonguss, so
really
that is
good
also
point.
limited.
Like forcing the Terra on the King Gambit, so that the Goldengo would be able to finish off the game. Actually, like really true. I think that's what Kiwamu went for in particular. But now I'm thinking about what could be the adjustment in game 2. I feel like Kiwamu kind of does the same, because Sneasler or Saluna are just strong into his opponent's team, but not sure if Navjit wants to do the same. And sorry if I'm butchering your name.
It's Shona.
No, not your name. Not your name, like the player.
Okay, my bad. I wasn't listening once again.
Yeah.
As you can tell, it's very late for me. I am very tired. But game 2 is ready, so I'm gonna say let's just hop into that in just a moment. But yeah, you know, also the Amoonguss that I mentioned before, it's not a safe pick into Kiwamu Endo's team. You know, having that Magmar there with the Vital Spirit is going to be King Gambit and Sneasler once again, and this time the Goldengo is going to be in the lead here right away.
And I actually got this completely wrong, because in the end, Navjit is the one that ends up keeping the same lead, and Kiwamu is the one changing it. But we see the fake out under the Magmar and the Nasty Plot in front of the King Gambit. Does Goldengo get hit by... Ooh! Goldengo goes down.
That's gonna just take that out. Yeah, Kiwamu's like most valuable Pokemon from game 1 going down turn 1 in this game 2 here. Definitely means that, yeah, this game is gonna look a lot different. Now the Ursaluna coming in here. Yeah, okay, it's gonna threaten both of the Sneasler and the King Gambit with Earth Power, but, you know, then again, the Sneasler here does also have access to close combat, and that is a super effective move. We did see the Ursaluna live that one move in the first game, but it is not going to be able to live a double up, and having the Assault Vessels means it does not have Protect. So yeah, it's going to go for a Terra Water here, so it's not weak to that close combat anymore. Who knows, maybe with that it can possibly leave a double up, but maybe this Magmar is also just going to go for a Follow Me. There's going to be 2 Terras in this turn 2 here, the second one being that King Gambit, so yeah, once again, does not want to take a super effective Earth Power. But, you know, being Terra Ghost now means that you do take a lot more from something like a Blood Moon if it decides to go for that. So yeah, close combat here into the Ursaluna, takes less than half from that and loses some defenses there. The Heat Wave actually doing a good amount of damage to the Sneasler, and Hyper Voice is going to take that Pokemon out, and yeah, also a lot of damage on that King Gambit.
Yeah, I would say despite the third one going easily to like not helping Kiwamu, the Ursaluna is such a physically bulky Pokemon that with this like neutral type Terra is still able to do something. The Heat Wave and the Hyper Voice also helping him, considering the Terra from King Gambit. But now this Dragonite is looking pretty good if you ask me. So I'm not sure if Kiwamu is actually still able to pull this back. Like the Scale Shot and the Counter Cleave is looking pretty strong here. Yeah, or that, sure. Like the Steam Speed also manages to finish off the Ursaluna, and I feel like it's close to being over here. Like, I don't think there's a Pokemon for Kiwamu that can pull this back. And yeah, super strong game from Navjit. Kiwamu went for an all-in turn 1 and it didn't work.
Yeah. You know, just going for that Kowtow Cleave there wasn't risk-free, but, you know, when 2 players of, you know, this caliber play against each other, there's just so much more in terms of mind games going on and predictions that, you know, it's fair to just assume that maybe this King Gambit isn't just going to Kowtow Cleave into that Pokemon, and the good Lango could get a sneaky setup, but didn't happen like that here. And I mean, the Dragonite here, it's lost its multi-scale. King Gambit is very low. I'm gonna say that it's not over yet, but
yeah, exactly.
Of course,
it might be time for that Dark
right
Close Sleep. It might be time for
it
the
might
Dark Close
be,
Sleep we were
yeah.
talking about. Yeah, that would be Kiwamu's win condition, and as we can see, he's definitely considering it. But does he go for it? Yeah, he does go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragonite was kind of forced to go for that safe extreme speed in the last round to just finish off the Ursaluna. You know, having the Magmar there means that, you know, if you go for a Scale Shot and try to get a speed boost, you know, if it goes for Follow Me, you don't get the KO on that Ursaluna. So not having a speed boost here means that it is going to be slower than the Sneasler, and yeah, it's just going to go for an extreme speed.
Does he get it?
Dire Claw gets a Paralyze here, so not
that
quite
might
asleep,
work.
but, you know, that could be asleep if it just, you know, doesn't attack anymore. And wow, Sneasler actually hangs on from that Kowtow Cleave with 5 HP. This is why you play Black Glasses, just saying.
This is actually not over. We didn't see the last month from Navjit, right? I don't think we did. But yeah, if the Dragonite gets the full para, and also there is a mind game with the Sucker Punch, because like Kiwamu can get a lot of momentum here by going for like Dark Claw and Heat Wave and getting a double KO. But there's the option of the Sucker Punch. So depending on the last mon, on Navjit's side, okay, so it does go for Follow Me.
Yeah, you know, now that the Dragonite is paralyzed, you can go for the Follow Me and redirect these extreme speeds. So that is a play here for Kiwamu. And now the King Gambit does go down here. So yeah, definitely not over yet. And you know, the last Pokemon here for Navjit could be that Gastrodon once again.
Oh, okay. So the Gastrodon is actually going to be the MVP in this game. I don't see how Kiwamu beats the Gastrodon in this position. Well, maybe. Yeah, no, because Kiwamu doesn't.
If there's
have,
a Dire Claw,
Terra...
there's a way.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about it. Maybe in this case, even with Dark Claw, there's not a way, because Kiwamu doesn't have a Terra available anymore. So all it takes is 2 Earth Powers. Yeah, I mean, maybe it needs to sleep the Gastron and get multiple full paras. Do we see that?
Oh, but yeah, Kiwamu just going for the KO on the Dragonite. Very fair, in my opinion. Yeah, I think this is actually Kiwamu's best play in the situation. Because like you
Yeah.
said, you know, once the Gastrodon gets those Earth powers, Navjit just wins the second game. So now Kiwamu really just has to hope for some Dire Claw magic here.
Yeah, this is the time for the Dark Claw Sleep. Like, this time for real.
Yeah, I mean, and as you said, even if a sleep happens here, and the Gastrodon sleeps for 3 turns with the Citrus Berry, I
think he
mean,
needs
it
to-
could be close.
I think he needs to finish it with the close combat. Oh my god!
Oh my god,
finally
it
gets
actually fell asleep. Oh my
At
god.
the perfect
okay.
time, the sleep finally comes. I love this move.
Oh my god, I despise it. But I am now curious to see how much this close combat is gonna do into this Gastrodon here. Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
do a lot of damage, but
It
it,
takes-
does have the Citrus
Does
Berry.
Gastron wake up? Because it takes one more close combat. So it all comes down to whether Gastron wakes
Yeah.
up this turn or not. Does he wake up?
Does it wake up?
No, it
Is
stays asleep.
she-
Oh no, it woke
no,
up,
does
sorry.
not. Sorry, it did
Alright,
wake
alright.
up, and it does get the KO on that Sneasler. But yeah, if it had stayed asleep for one more turn, I think that second Dire Claw there probably wouldn't have taken it out. So you have one more chance. So if you're there, I think you need 3 turns of sleep to win that game.
I think he needed two, because like if it slept that turn, then one more close combat would have done it, but may have been a roll. Not sure.
Maybe
But yeah,
yeah.
that was such an exciting game though. Like came down to the last like Dark Claw Sleep, but like yeah, must be heartbreaking for Kiwamu honestly, going so close with the Dark Claw Sleep and then like losing it all. But yeah, last game.
I mean,
I feel like
okay, so
Kiwamu
this is the thing.
actually wants to go for the Ursaluna Sneasler this time, but we'll
Yeah,
see about
possibly. That is what worked in the first game, although the first game was very close. The Pokemon that did the most for Kiwamu in the first game, you know, in the end was the Goldango, and he lost it right away in game 2, so definitely don't want that to happen again in this game 3. So yeah, the Ursaluna could be another angle. Of course, it hits all Pokemon on Navjit's sides very, very nicely, and I think Pokemon-wise, we probably won't see Navjit bring the Amoonguss. It's just really tough in this matchup here with the Vital Spirit Magmar and the Goldango, and also
Yeah, I
Rillaboom
agree.
technically also being an option. So at most, maybe we see the Ninetales and an Aurora Veil setup, but honestly, this Gastrodon so far has done pretty good work against Kiwamu, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see it one more time in Game 3.
Yeah, because typing wise, unlike Amoonguss, Gastronom just like takes hits from Kiwamu's team really well. So also we see it in the lead.
And
this
there it
time.
is.
And we do see
Gonna
the Ursaluna, Blood Moon, and the Sneasler from Kiwamu this time around. Ursaluna honestly super strong in this matchup. Like with all the physical attackers, he just tanks everything and is faster than King Gambit most notably.
Now, both Sneaslers here, they have the fake out pressure on the field. In game 1, we did see Kiwamu Sneasler go first, but, you know, Navjit could have just gone for a coaching or have lost a speed tie. We don't know. Only Navjit knows, I suppose, at this point right now. And of course, you know, the Ursaluna, once again, does not have access to Protect since it is an Assault-based Pokemon, so it can be hit here by Yawn, by Close Combat, just get fake out. So I think Kiwamu might have to respect the possible damage output from the Sneasler here right away, but actually it is just going to switch out. So right now the Gastrodon here, it does have Earth Power pressure, but this Ursaluna is looking very nice.
Okay, and we don't see the Terra from Ursaluna, which I would have expected. Like pretty good read from Kiwamu since the Sneasler goes out. But actually I think Dragonite got in on the Earth Power. That's why it took no damage. And yeah, the poison on the Gastrodon
Most
is
likely,
also pretty
yeah.
nice. Yeah, and Kiwamu's preserving the Terra. I was looking. Do you remember? Oh yeah, right. So the King Gambit from Navjit doesn't have a Steel move. So if Kiwamu does have Goldengo and Magmar in the back like before, I feel like he's trying to save the Terra for the Magmar again, especially now that the Ursaluna is not really threatened by a fighting type attack.
And it's gonna be a Dark Claw here on the Sneasler, breaking that multi-scale, getting another Paralyze here on this Dragonite. And the Blood Moon follow-up is gonna outspeed this Pokemon now because of that Para and get a critical hit and just take it out. That crit, possibly...
Not sure if it
mattered. I think it really depends on how these Pokemon are trained. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I'm going for the Yawn, but I feel like, I don't know, in this position, like, it might be good if he gets like a good read on Kiwamu's on this turn. Like, that's kind of how Yawn works. Like, you're forcing your opponent to either commit and stay on the field and go to sleep, or to switch out, and then you can capitalize on that turn. And so I think
this is great for Navjit here. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I actually think this is like really, really good here, bringing the Sneasler and having the Gastrodon. Because this Ursaluna right now, it's probably, if it's gonna switch, it's probably gonna be a Goldengo or a Magmar, which can get hit by an Earth Power. And if the Ursaluna stays in, it can get hit by a Close Combat. Or the Ursaluna stays in and maybe Terras, but it falls asleep next turn. So I actually think this is really nice for Navjit here.
Yeah. The thing is, Navjit Sneasler doesn't have Protect. I think Kiwamu really wants to get rid of the Sneasler to do the Magmar Goldengo endgame. But this play works too, as long as Goldengo doesn't get hit by Earth Power, which I think there's a good chance.
I think so too, because like I said, there's the Earth Power. Because if you expect Kiwamu to bring the same for Pokemon again, then everything in the back is weak to Earth Power. Even the Sneasler that's on the field here is weak to that move. So I think that was a really nice few moves there from Navjit. Gastrodon gonna get a little bit of recovery here from the Citrus Berry, but it is still poisoned. But now the Goldengo has already lost so much HP. And of course, Sneasler cannot touch it. It only has Dark Claw and Close Combat as its attacking move. But unless you're taking out the Gastrodon here, the Goldengo is in a little bit of a tough spot.
But actually, that's one of the strengths of Goldengo, which is ignoring completely Sneasler stabs. So here, even though Goldengo was damaged, Kiwamu is just able to get off an attack with it. And
and the return Dark
Claw this time for Navjit. But the Goldengo is able to take out the Sneasler and also importantly chip down the Gastrodon, which is poisoned. So I would say this actually looks pretty good for Kiwamu. I mean, it's 3 versus 2, and even though the Sneasler is sleeping, the Gastrodon is pretty low health, and the Ursaluna especially.